This is the BC-342. It's a World War II vintage general cartridge receiver. They came in two flavors, the BC-342, as this one is, with the AC supply, and then the BC-312 with a DC dynamotor supply. There was also an X version that was 24 volts. All are the same essentially, except for the power supplies. I'm going to show you how to replace the capacitors in the RF and detector cans. This is not a difficult task, and if you want your 342 to perform as it should, these will need to be replaced if they are stock. Here's what you can expect to find in your stock receiver. On the left is the factory micromold capacitors. These usually short when they go bad, resulting in loss of B+ voltage. Many BC-312s, 342 receivers were overhauled in the early 50s, and the micromolds replaced with the Sprague Black Beauties on the right. A bit better than the micromolds, but after 60 years they too must go. The values on these that we'll be working with will be 0.05 at 600 volts. Okay, here's our patient. A somewhat crusty BC-312. Don't let the data place fool you, it's a BC-312. Right out of storage. And this is what we'll be working with. So here's the bottom of the unit. I have the dynamotor out servicing that. So the areas we're going to focus on are here. Be the first RF, second RF, and the first detector. So right off the bat, what we want to do here, we're going to remove the 6 screws for the plate here, and then I believe there's 8 screws on the plate on the top here to access the tubes. Okay, now you can see we have the covers off, which will help us access some of the connections and screws. One thing on this radio I'm noticing is I can pretty much bet this is going to have micromold capacitors in it. The reason I'm saying that is most of the overhauled sets, after they got overhauled, they were also MFP'd, and this set does not have any MFP on it, so it does not look like it went through the overhaul process. So the next step we have to do here is we have to remove the band change selector shaft, and this is a shaft that runs through the length here, which intergauges the wafer switches for your band select. So the easiest way to do that is turn your band selector to band A, which is the 1500 to 3000 band. And what that's going to do for you is going to give you access here, if you can see in here, to the set screw that holds the shaft in place. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop that out. And there it is. Now be careful you don't lose this. It has a little nub on the end which engages the shaft. Next thing we want to do is remove the slug to access it from the oscillator side. And that's just a metal slug here. And then hopefully we'll be able to grab with our needle nose the shaft and pull it out. What to notice on here is you'll notice this is a tapered end. This is the end you want when you go back. You're going to put it in. It makes it much easier. Plus it has a line right here as a hole for that set screw. So now we have that off. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the first RF, second RF, and detector tubes out, because we want to be able to move this tube plate out of the way so we can access underneath it. Move these, set them aside. And that one's in there. Then there's 4 screws. You're going to want to remove these 2 here, both far ends. There we go. And if you look also, there's two more up inside here. And we'll put them out as well. Once we get them out, very carefully now, what we're going to do is slide this up and out of the way. Now while you're in here, and this is not something I need to show you, it's pretty obvious, you have three sets of capacitors. Each one of these has 3.05s in it. My recommendation would be to obviously replace these, but you can see them and you can get to them pretty good. I'm sure they're probably leaky. If they're not, they will be. So what this gives us access to now is the top. And what we'll do here, the procedure is the same for all three. Well, we'll go with the hardest one, which is the middle. And what there'll be 4 set screws for each can. So what we're going to want to do is remove the electrical connections and remove the 4 screws. And what you might want to do also is move your tuning condenser to have access in here. So that's what I'll do next. I'll remove the screws and the electrical connections.